sounds just like people are glad we're back.
I guess.
We kind of look good in California, but I think people want us to stay here in New York. Yeah. Well, we are back in New York live for a full day of Hot Topics. I literally just got off the bus about an hour ago.
She did.
So if I have that very dazed look on my face, I do, because I was just like, oh my God, what time is it? Oh my God, the bridge is up.
You're always the first one here. You're always like,
it made me crazy.
Right away.
But my guys were great.
When did you leave? What day?
Well, you know, I went up to see my mom in Berkeley, so that added about 7 or 8 hours. But I just felt like I needed to see her because I haven't seen her in ages. So she looks great. My brother looks great. Everybody is, family's great. It was just, I'm so glad we went. Yeah. I'm so glad we went to California. I'm just thrilled. And of course, I did the cleaner and had a great time there. So I'll tell you when those episodes are coming up. It was fantastic. What about y'all? Did you have a good time? Did you stay home?
Yeah, I see you guys left after the show. I stayed with my family and partied and went and hit comedy clubs.
You did?
Yeah, because LA is my home. I just met, you know, we got there and they were like, you need a navigation system? I was like, heck no! I was on the 405 and speeding and top down. I loved it.
I was cold, frankly, there. It was freezing.
Joey and I were on our plane back.
Usually I'm so hot all the time from flashes, and I was freezing there.
Well, it was 2 degrees. I mean, it wasn't that it was just a flash. It was bloody cold down there.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Warmer, though, Joy, after you guys left.
Joy and I, we actually slept together on the way back.
Elizabeth, she gets on the plane and she's out like a light. She's either up, yak, 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 or she's sleeping.
It's strange to all of a sudden have no one to tend to. All the snacks were for me. I had nothing to do. I had a period of life. I just went to sleep. I'd never do that. It was
You
fun.
look like a hot, pregnant lady today, I'll tell you.
Let me tell you. Sleeping together works. Joy and I had our napsies on the plane.
Can I tell you what Bill said? He said, you got to see Elizabeth. It's like pregnant girls gone wild.
Tell me, do you need a bus? I have a bus I can loan you. Well, here's what's been going on. Meghan McCain was mocked recently by conservative Laura Ingraham for being plus size. And Ann Coulter recently said she loved coming on The View because it made her feel young and pretty. Now, both of those quotes were said during political discussions. So why does it always come down to weight and looks and age with some people, do you think?
You know, it's so funny. I think with women, it's such a universal issue, our weight and our looks, that we know that that's a hot button. I don't think women worry about when they get up in the morning, am I smart enough? Am I going to be able to debate? We look in the mirror, it's the same question. Do I look fat in these jeans? Yeah. And I think, you know, it gets to us.
Well, it's just, you know, it's saddening because it takes us... We just take ourselves out of the equation when stuff like this happens. Instead of entering into a formatted debate or a valuable conversation, you just, you know, like what Ann Coulter said or the things that have been going on with Meghan, it definitely undercuts the point that anyone's trying to make. And instead of focusing on what these women are going to talk about, now everyone's talking about what size jeans they have.
But it's typical of Ann Coulter. She always does something that's going to get her press. That's where her head is at, you know, so she said something nasty against the 9/11 widows, and she'll say things about people that...
I didn't understand her point. What does she mean?
That she looks younger and prettier because we're old and ugly.
Has she not looked up to her? I'm sorry, hello?
She is... Oh, you mean Elizabeth?
You don't look better than Elizabeth, Ann. I'm sorry. You don't.
But it was interesting.
Sorry.
Interestingly enough, though, Laura Ingraham, she kind of jumped in on this fight, and Meghan McCain is here. She's actually going to be with us after Hot Topics today, and we're going to ask her about it, and she'll have some interesting things to say, I'm sure. But for Laura Ingraham, she commented on Meghan's...
Women attacking other women is what we're talking about.
Yes.
And it's interesting because a man does not know what button to push on a woman. So if he'll say, you look skinny or you look fat, he thinks they're equal insults. They're not. But a woman knows which way to go.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's just painting all women with one brush. I mean, why would Laura Ingraham think that this idea of attacking someone's weight had more pull than what Meghan was talking about?
She said, just because
it has more press.
It does.
That's what I'm trying to point out.
Just in case anyone doesn't know,
Laura Ingraham was a man.
Laura Ingraham.
No, because no one would believe it.
Laura Ingraham took a shot at Meghan McCain. Yeah. She mocked her how she thinks she talks like a Valley girl, and then she said, how are we supposed to listen to some plus size? You know,
she couldn't be a plus size model on America's Next Top Model. But I think also too, it spoke to Laura Ingraham not being able to debate Meghan McCain on the issues. That she had to go there. She had nothing.
Does anyone know who Laura Ingraham is? I don't know.
The girl on Little House on the Prairie.
That's who it was, too, the Little House on the Prairie.
No, it's not.
Well, that's what I say to Laura Ingraham.
Pretty much.
They don't even know who she is.
But the fact that she couldn't come at Meghan McCain in an intelligent way. She had to go there and be disrespectful. So you had nothing.
Here to discuss all this. It's a good day.
It's really good.
Yeah. I remember when I was on the radio. I might have told this story before, but I was on the radio, and people in 1991 or so, and I'm a a left-wing liberal type of personality. We all know that. I know. And I was on a very conservative station. I was up with Rush Limbaugh was on my station, etc. So people really hated me. A lot of people, they would call and yell at me but then women would call. A woman would call one time. A lot of them would do it. You're ugly, they'd say. You're so homely. And I thought, I'm on the radio. You've never even seen me. And it was just because they hated my politics that they would attack my looks.
Sure.
It was a fascinating thing to
It is. You know, I thought it was interesting. I remember during the riots in L.A., we were all trying to get home, and I got into an argument with this lady next to me because we were both trying to get in this one lane. And we're arguing back and forth in the window. And then she goes, "You fat pig." And I was like, "Hey!" It was not fair. And it was just that button that
you have to say, I could lose weight, but you'll always be ugly.
What what bothered you more? Honestly, what do you think bothered you more? Was it when you said people would call in? Truthfully, what stuck more? When someone would challenge your politics, or when they throw a dig like that at you?
Well, it's wounding when someone says you're ugly, even though they haven't seen you. For some reason, it really just gets you.
Well,
then I'm over it. I don't care.
What about this?
Who cares?
CNBC's Jim Cramer and Jon Stewart went head-to-head on The Daily Show last week. And a lot of people thought Stewart tore Cramer to pieces. Did you guys see it?
A little bit of it,
Okay.
Can we show a little?
We can show a little bit. But what was the point of all of it? I know Jon Stewart was annoyed because he felt CNBC was aware of all of the crap going on in the financial markets and really didn't draw any attention to it, and sort of talked about Cramer and very different people. But then when Cramer got on the show, he was just very like, yes, you're right. Because on Martha, he was like, yeah, and I'm beating Jon Stewart.
He got taken to task, and he knew that they should have called more attention to what was going on.
Here's what they did. It was a tactical move by Stewart to go back, and what he did was he collected all the clips of Cramer from like 2006 to present, in times when he was saying, everything is fine, the market's great, keep your money in such. So he went and pulled all these clips and then played them in front of him. So it was kind of left with, I guess I did say that
couldn't
stuff.
say anything.
I mean, it's hard. If you're really trusting someone in that position to tell you where to put your money, they're talking to like the broad spectrum. It's like the average of what everyone should maybe do.
He also was annoyed with him for being entertaining as opposed to being correctly informative. And, Stewart is a comic. One time I ran into Joe Biden in Florida a couple of years ago, and he told me, Vice President Joe Biden, he said that he was more scared of going on like a show like Jon Stewart than he is on Meet the Press. Because a comedian, you just don't know where we're going to come at you. And so that was what happened to Kramer.
Luckily, I don't have to deal with that at all any day of the week.
Poor Elizabeth.
Well, what about AIG, my favorite people, who received, hold up, you know what's coming, who received $170 billion in their federal bailout? They just announced they're giving $165 million in bonuses to their top execs because they're contractually obligated to do it. Now, before, I just want to say this. I know that if you sat with all those people who are expecting their money for doing the job, they would say to you, you know what, we don't need to take it all, we'll take some. I understand the contract because, of course, if you and I have a contract, I want some of my money, everybody's hurting. But you cannot bend us over this way. You have got to talk to those people and say that you and I are going to give them all that money because they don't deserve all of it because AIG is in the toilet. Bonuses. I go take, and then you got all the losses that they recorded. Take that. What about that mailroom guy who's trying to figure out how to take care of his family that works at AIG, or the secretary? Give it to the regular people.
No, that's not how it works. But how about the general contract to the people? You know what I mean? The people that understood this company and what it was supposed to stand for, and it was supposed to be transparent. What about if that contract is broken? Why are they upholding ones? They're choosing some contracts to uphold and not the main one that they chose to just not.
The thing was that they said that they have to give it to them to retain the best and the brightest. brightest. Well, the best and the brightest got us into this, so bring me the worst and the dumbest.
Yeah. Thank you. And on that note, we will be right back with more Hot Topics.